Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you love captivating stories about men transforming into women in unique and fascinating ways, then be sure to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Now, let's jump right into today's tale.
Kristin padded into the kitchen, her bare feet cool against the hardwood floor. The apartment was quiet, bathed in the gentle morning light that made everything look like a high-end home magazine spread. Done. She'd half expected to wake up back in Kyle's cramped bedroom. The transformation, nothing but a bizarre dream. But the reality of her new existence was undeniable in the harsh light of day. Nice kitchen, though, she admitted, admiring the marble countertops and stainless steel appliances. Kyle would have killed for this setup too. The motions of making coffee came instinctively, her hands moving without thought as she grabbed a mug from a cabinet, knowing exactly which one without having to search. Poured water into a machine that looked far more sophisticated than Kyle's ancient Mr. Coffee, and started her morning brew. At least my caffeine addiction survived the gender swap, she remarked, inhaling the rich aroma appreciatively. Some things are sacred. As the coffee gurgled, filling the kitchen with its comforting scent, she reached for her planner, a leather-bound book sitting precisely where she somehow knew it would be, on the corner of the kitchen island. Flipping it open to the current date, she expected to see a normal workday scheduled. Her eyes widened at the first thing she saw. In bold, capitalized letters, written in her own handwriting. A handwriting that was frustratingly neat and loopy in a way Kyle's chicken scratch had never been. Important client meeting today. Look as professional with as much sexiness as respectable. Kristin nearly choked on air, her eyes bulging as she read the note twice more to be sure she wasn't hallucinating. "What the hell?" she muttered. "How?" staring at the words as if they might rearrange themselves into something more reasonable. Did I just tell myself to be sexy? For a client meeting? She shook her head in disbelief. Kyle's idea of dressing professionally had been making sure his shirt was ironed and his fly was zipped. The concept of strategically deploying sexiness for business purposes was so foreign, it might as well have been written in Martian. Oh, who even am I in this reality? She wondered aloud, pouring herself a cup of coffee. Some kind of femme fatale interior designer? Do I seduce people into buying expensive ottomans? She took a long sip, the rich, complex flavor hitting her palate. Even the coffee was better in this life. Of course it was. Curious, she flipped through the planner, noting all the appointments, deadlines, and notes, all of which were perfectly organized and efficient. Color-coded tabs separated different types of projects. Small stickers marked priority levels. Important dates were highlighted in a precise system that somehow made perfect sense to her, despite never having seen it before. In the margins were little notes to herself, reminders about clients' personal preferences, their children's names, their anniversaries. The attention to detail was impressive, if slightly terrifying. Apparently, I'm type A with a vengeance, she murmured, running her finger down a particularly detailed to-do list. Kyle could barely remember to buy toilet paper, but what caught her attention most was how successful she seemed to be. The client names she recognized. Some were local celebrities. Others were executives at major companies. The project budgets noted in tiny, precise numbers made her eyebrows shoot up nearly to her hairline. "Holy shit," she whispered, noting a six-figure sum next to today's meeting. "I charge that much to pick out curtains." Apparently, she was damn good at her job. Really, really good. And if this meeting was important enough for her past self to leave such a bold note, she wasn't about to screw it up. "Okay, so I need to look professional," Yet sexy, she mused, closing the planner and taking another fortifying sip of coffee. Whatever the hell that means. Do I even own clothes that fit that description? A memory surfaced, not Kyle's, but Kristin's, of a closet section specifically organized for client meetings. Tailored pantsuits in rich colors, pencil skirts that hugged in all the right places, silky blouses that suggested, without revealing. Well, that's convenient, she muttered, finding herself both disturbed and relieved by these flashes of Kristin's memory. Creepy, but convenient. Kristin sighed, taking a long sip of coffee before making her decision. She was going to let her body's instincts handle this. All right, Kristin, she said to herself, setting down the now empty mug. You're in charge today. Just try not to make me look ridiculous. It felt strange, almost like surrendering to the inevitable, acknowledging that her body knew things her mind didn't, that there was a version of herself that had lived this life for years, even if she had no conscious memory of it. She glanced at the clock on the microwave. 2 hours until the meeting. Plenty of time to shower, dress, and try to wrap her head around the fact that she was about to walk into a high-stakes business meeting as a woman. How hard can it be? She asked her reflection in the chrome of the coffee machine, her distorted image smirking back at her. You're apparently a witch with supernatural luck. Surely you can handle picking out a sexy way. But professional outfit and talking about throw pillows for an hour? With that semi-encouraging thought, she headed for the shower. Already mentally cataloging the makeup routine she somehow knew she needed to follow. The hair products she'd need to use. The exact shade of lipstick that would strike the perfect balance between authority and approachability. Just let the body drive, she reminded herself as she turned on the shower, adjusting the temperature to exactly how she liked it without having to think. And for God's sake, don't stare at your own boobs the whole time. You're a professional. A professional what? Exactly remained to be seen. But she was about to find out. After finishing her coffee, which was vastly superior to the cheap store brand Kyle used to gulp down, Kristin stepped into the shower. No, letting the hot water wash away the lingering tension from yesterday's chaos. The bathroom itself was a marvel of luxury compared to Kyle's dingy shared apartment bathroom. Rainfall showerhead, heated marble floors, and products that definitely weren't bargain bin specials. I could get used to this part, she murmured, as the perfectly temperature-controlled water cascaded over her shoulders. Though I'm not sure I'll ever get used to washing these. She glanced down at her chest, still startled by the curves that interrupted the familiar path of water down her body. Showering as a woman was an entirely different sensory experience. The feel of her hair plastered against her back, the way soap slid over softer skin, the lingering scent of expensive products that clung to her even after rinsing. Focus on the task, Thompson, she told herself sternly, reaching for a bottle of shampoo that probably cost more than Kyle's entire grooming budget for a month. You've got a big meeting. No time for existential crises in the shower. As she dried off, wrapping herself in a plush towel that felt like a cloud, she allowed her body's muscle memory to guide her through her morning beauty routine. It was like watching someone else operate her hands. A peculiar outday of body experience where she was simultaneously the observer and the performer. Her hands moved effortlessly, applying serums and moisturizers in a specific order, blending foundation with a sponge, sweeping eyeshadow across her lids with expert precision. She lined her eyes, applied mascara without stabbing herself, a minor miracle, in her opinion, and finished with a lipstick that somehow perfectly matched the undertones of her skin. How do women do this every day? She wondered aloud, leaning closer to the mirror to inspect her work. This is like painting a masterpiece before breakfast. Yet, the results were undeniably impressive. Her eyes looked larger, more intense, the green irises standing out dramatically against the subtle smoky shadow. Her cheekbones appeared more defined, her lips fuller and more inviting. "I look like I could sell ice to Eskimos," she muttered, turning her head to see her profile. "Or exorbitantly priced throw pillows to millionaires." The hair was next, a process involving products she couldn't have named yesterday, but somehow knew exactly how to use today. The red locks that had been wild and unruly from sleep transformed under her skilled hands into soft waves that framed her face perfectly, cascading just past her shoulders in a way that looked effortlessly elegant. Then came the clothing choice. She stood in front of her walk-in closet, a room unto itself that was larger than Kyle's entire bedroom had been, surveying a collection of high-end designer outfits that stared back at her like soldiers awaiting orders. The organization was impeccable. Work attire separated from casual wear, colors arranged in a spectrum, accessories displayed on specialized racks. Okay, sexy but professional, she reminded herself, scanning the options. Whatever the hell that means. And without thinking, her hands moved, picking out an outfit that was as powerful as it was seductive. Kristin felt like a passenger in her own body, watching as her fingers selected garments with practiced ease. A sleek black pencil skirt suit, tailored perfectly to hug her curves, with a high slit up the side, dangerously high, but not inappropriate. The fabric was luxurious, the craftsmanship evident in every stitch. "Armani," she heard herself murmur, recognizing the label before her conscious mind even registered it. Perfect for intimidating the competition while still looking approachable. A white silk blouse, the fabric soft and luxurious against her skin, cut just low enough to hint at her cleavage without crossing into unprofessional territory. It whispered of femininity while still maintaining authority. "The neckline walks the line," she observed, holding it up to her chest, just enough to distract without being dismissed. And finally, a pair of 4-inch stiletto pumps, the kind that elongated her legs, lifted her ass, and made her walk with an effortless sway. They were black with red soles. Louboutins? Her mind supplied automatically. The kind of shoes that cost more than Kyle's monthly rent. "These are basically weapons," she remarked, slipping them on with surprising ease. "How do I know how to walk in these things?" But she did know. Her body balanced perfectly. The weight distribution, automatic. The posture adjustment, instantaneous. Yesterday she'd managed to drive in heels. Today, she apparently could navigate the world in what amounted to stylish torture devices without a second thought. As she dressed, each piece coming together to create a carefully curated image, Kristin marveled at the transformation. The suit jacket nipped in at exactly the right place to emphasize her waist. The skirt hugged her hips and thighs before ending just below the knee, except for that tantalizing slit that revealed a flash of thigh when she moved. This is psychological warfare, disguised as fashion, she observed, fastening a delicate gold necklace around her throat, just enough sparkle to catch the eye without being ostentatious. Looking at herself in the full length mirror, Kristin had to admit, she looked incredible. "Holy shit," she whispered, turning slightly to see the outfit from different angles. The woman who stared back at her was a stranger, and yet, somehow, intimately familiar. Powerful, confident, deadly in the best way possible. "I look like I eat CEOs for breakfast," she said with a laugh that surprised her with its musical quality. No wonder my clients pay the big bucks. Her reflection showed a woman who commanded attention, who walked into rooms and immediately became the focal point, not just because of her beauty, though that was undeniable, but because of the aura of competence and authority she projected. Kyle couldn't even match his socks properly, she mused, smoothing a hand over the perfectly tailored jacket. And now look at me. I'm practically weaponized femininity. The thought brought a smile to her perfectly painted lips. If this was what being Kristin Thompson entailed, being a powerhouse in Christian Louboutins, maybe it wasn't the worst thing in the world. And if this was what her lucky, enhanced life had built for her, she might as well own it. All right, Thompson, she said to her reflection, straightening her shoulders and lifting her chin slightly. I'll pin the chin. Let's go make some magic. The non-literal kind for now. She grabbed a sleek leather portfolio and the designer handbag that somehow matched her outfit perfectly. Another detail her body seemed to know without conscious input, and headed for the door. The clicking of her heels against the hardwood floor, creating a soundtrack of confidence. Today wasn't just about surviving as Kristin. It was about thriving as her. And based on what she saw in the mirror, thriving was definitely on the agenda.